we are complacent. We choose complacency over being uncomfortable with having to move forward. Life has changed. Something's different. And fear and doubt and pride show up in those moments with the attempt to keep us from moving forward. And so I thought to myself, you're looking at a guy who even the kindest of historians would say his presidency was not a wild success. That's the kindest version. His presidency was failed if we only measure it by did he get reelected? And he did not. So last time we saw inflation as high as it is now. It was not a wild success. And so the day that I got the chance to interview President Jimmy Carter, it was an honor to interview a former president for sure. But this is a man who reinvented himself. His staunchest critics would say he reinvented himself. And he did a lot of good post-presidency, post-politics. I'm going to give you a snapshot for those of you that are young and you kind of know the name. Some of you don't know who he is. By the way, he's the oldest living president, 98, and he will be entering into heaven very soon. So leaving the presidency in January 1981, he could have easily chose a life of speaking gigs and getting paid well and taking advantage of the office of the presidency and just kind of fading into history. But he didn't. Beyond the Carter Center, which was about international conflict resolution, and he stayed on the scene in the Middle East for certain. He also got very involved with Habitat for Humanity, lended tremendous credibility and publicity to a wonderful organization. And you've seen the videos of him out on the job site with gloves and hammering nails and the whole 9 yards. He reinvented himself there. He went on to be a distinguished professor at Emory University in Atlanta, kept teaching. He was even awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2002. And so a man who was not an admired sitting president, in the days to follow, you will see that he became a man who was admired post-presidency. And so that day, I asked him several questions, but I'm going to set up a question that I asked him in the book, One Question. And this was the question. How can we continue to move forward and reinvent ourselves in a new season? And I'll read just a bit of his answer. He said, a number of years ago, I wrote a book called The Virtues of Aging, and I realized that a lot of people in our country retire in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, and they have 10, 20, 30 years ahead of them. What are they going to do with that time? Sometimes we have a very discouraging experience in our lives. For example, I wanted to be president for a second term, and I wasn't reelected. You have to make a decision about what you're going to do when you have a plan that is terminated. You just have to look at where you can spend the rest of your life, your daily existence in the most productive, enjoyable, adventurous, unpredictable, and gratifying way. We have to decide how to accommodate changing times in life, and all of us are confronted with changing times. As we age, we often slow down, or at worst, we begin to shut down. This is the thought that I'm having. You know, I just look at my own parents now in their 70s. And my dad is slowing down more than my mom is slowing down, literally and physically. I was talking to him last night, and they're walking 5 miles every day. I'm very proud of them. They're doing great. And my mom was talking a little trash on the phone. And I thought it was pretty great because she's awesome. She was like, yeah, I tend to walk faster than your dad. He's always telling me to slow down. And my dad's like, yeah, if I don't tell her, she'll just take off. I said, Mom, leave his butt in the dust tomorrow. Let's just see how he does. I said, I want to see you set a faster pace for Dad because I think you can do more. We had a little sweet moment of kind of having some fun at my dad's expense. But I have seen in my own parents that with age, they're slowing down. And then the cultural expectation is that we work for 30 years or 40 years or whatever to reach a certain age, and we hope we have enough money piled up, and then what do? We retire. I'm not a fan of retirement, and I don't plan to retire. I might slow my schedule down, but I promise you, I hope I'm working when God takes me. I think it'd be pretty fantastic. I really do. To be doing some work somewhere around the country, around the globe when I'm an old fart and just kind of, that's it. Boom, done. He died doing what he loved, baby. I mean, that's my hope. There's a whole lot of science, by the way, that would suggest I'm right, that we harm ourselves when we stop contributing. You notice I didn't use the word working because for some of you that your view of work is so twisted as culture has taught you to twist it up that it's this thing I got to do instead of something I get to do. And this isn't a golden years application that I think President Carter gave us. This idea that when life comes at us and changes things wholesale, we have a choice of how we're going to react. Either you accept the change and you are resigned to the new reality, or you accept the change and reinvent your reality. See, resignation is, well, okay, that's just how it is. Versus, all right, it's time for something new. Do you see the difference? And this is as relevant in your 20s and your 30s and your 40s as it is in your 60s, 70s, and 80s. So I hope we take the words from a great man who was not a great president, but I think we can all say that Jimmy Carter lived a great life. And he reinvented himself many times over. May we all reinvent ourselves when life throws change at us and keep contributing to make this world a better place.